All right, so now that we know how to calculate a nation's comparative advantage and take a look at their lowest opportunity cost, we need to talk about how we determine if a trade is good or not. So we're going to use, in this example, two countries. We're going to be looking at Kenya and India, and we're going to be looking at two products that they can each produce. We're going to be looking at pineapples and radios. So using the numbers 30, 10, 40, and 40, we can analyze what the per unit cost would be. That's our opportunity cost, right? So if we were to compare Kenya's production of 30 pineapples or 10 radios, we have a 30 to 10 ratio, which excuse me, could be reduced down to 3 to 1. So we know that one pineapple would cost 1/3 of a radio, and that one radio would cost 3 pineapples. Basically just reversed the numbers. If we were to take a look at India and see theirs, it's a lot easier because it's 40 to 40, which is 1 to 1. So one pineapple costs one radio, and over here we have one radio costs one pineapple. Now the key is we need to find which country has the lowest opportunity cost for pineapples and which one has the lowest opportunity cost for radios. So if we look at pineapples, Kenya can produce one pineapple and only have to give up 1/3 of a radio, whereas India would produce one pineapple and they would have to give up one whole radio. That means that Kenya, comparatively, is more efficient at producing pineapples. That's their comparative advantage. When it comes to radios, Kenya would produce one radio, but they would lose the opportunity to produce 3 pineapples. India, on the other hand, could produce one radio and only lose the opportunity to produce one radio or one pineapple. It's a lot lower of an opportunity cost in India than it is in Kenya. So India's comparative advantage is radios. All right, now we know what their comparative advantages are. Let's take a look at trade agreements, trade deals. So Kenya is producing pineapples, which means that they want radios, and India is producing radios, which means they want pineapples, so they can make a trade. Now, if the terms of trade, this is what this says, if the terms of trade for one radio is greater than 3 pineapples, then Kenya is worse off and should make radios on their own. Let's take a look at this. So pineapples. Kenya already has the production of pineapples going on. If they wanted to gain a radio, it would cost them 3 of these pineapples. That number's right here. We know that one radio would cost them 3 pineapples if they were to do it themselves. Let's say India comes to Kenya and says, hey Kenya, we'll trade you one of our radios, but we want 4 of your pineapples for that radio. Kenya would say, why would we pay you 4 pineapples for a radio when we could make a radio ourselves for only 3 pineapples, right? It'd be cheaper for us to make it ourselves than trade, so no, we're not going to make that trade. If India, though, came to them and said, we'll give you a radio for only 2 pineapples, Kenya would say, well, wait a minute. If we were to make it ourselves, it would cost us 3 pineapples. But you'll give it to us for 2, we'll save a pineapple. Heck yeah, man, we'll trade you. So in this case, anything greater than 3, greater than the cost of the other item, they're not going to do that. Okay, the next one down says that India wants pineapples. If the term of trade for one radio is less than 1, then 1 pineapple, then India is worse off and should make pineapples on their own. Right? So when we're looking at this number over here, India would say, all right, well, we already make 1 radio, costs us 1 pineapple. If we were to make 1 pineapple and we're going to get 1 radio, if we were to get less than 1 pineapple per radio, then that's not going to be an advantage to us because we'd get more pineapples if we made them ourselves. So when we're looking at this number, we would want 2. Ideally, we want a number between this one and this one. If we traded, or I'm sorry, this one right here. If we traded 1 radio for 2 pineapples, India benefits, and Kenya would benefit. They would save a pineapple, and they get an extra pineapple. All right, let's take a look at this one. One radio for 2 pineapples benefits them both. So the way I would approach this, guys, I would look at this and say, okay, pineapples, radios, let's see. If we were to trade pineapples, they would need to save pineapples, so less than 3, but they want to gain, they need more than 1, which then leaves us with 2. Here we go. So this one down here says if India produces pineapples by themselves, they give up 1 pineapple for 1 radio. If they can get 2 pineapples for 1 radio, they're better off. If Kenya produces radios by themselves, they give up 3 pineapples for each radio. If they can trade 2 pineapples for each radio, then they are better off. So that number falls in between those 2 numbers over there. We're going to go try this out. I know this is a little complex. Take your time, work your way through them. We're going to do a couple practice problems next.